this video, as funny as this is gonna be, I do also want to use this episode as a teaching tool about the behavior and how to spot ideological possession. Now, naturally, of course, we're talking lefties who are not the brightest people in the world, as I shall show you all in a minute. Now, I would say the best way to describe the duality of leftists is benevolent psychopath, because from the left side of things, they think of themselves as benevolent angels who see the potential of all human beings and no one is bad ever. And if only they can be indoctrinated with the right, educated with the right beliefs, we can all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. Now, the opposition, who rightly sees these people as delusional psychopaths, think, what? Batshit crazy people, my word. And that's as far as it goes, really. The left don't actually care about the impossibility of this stupid task, because the infinite enemy of leftism, as Curtis Yavin pointed out, is reality. And seeing as reality is their ultimate enemy, there is no point to engaging with these people when it comes to logic and the real world, because the real world and the ugly reality thereof is their enemy. You're actually just pissing them off. They live in abstracts, disconnected from it, stupid and ideologically possessed. Or they're stupid and so become ideologically possessed. Or they're ideologically possessed and become stupid. I don't actually know which, to be honest. Blame public education, hence why you get bollocks like this. By the way, a bit of a background on this dude. He called me a sexist once within about 10 minutes when I first spoke to him, because I said men are more likely to work in the tech industry when Elon bought Twitter and virtually only men were left standing after the purge. Claims to be a libertarian, yet also wants restrictions on size when buying land. When asked how, he said democratic means. And when I asked, well, who decides the sizes that people can vote for? Him, naturally. When I asked him if people voted for no restrictions at all, would he honor the vote? No, of course not. Very our democracy. Safe to say, not exactly terribly bright. So I engage with this dude. Why, I don't know. Must have had some whiskey. And as you can see, the chap talks about hating centralized authority. He wants some of that localized representation. Who defines what is the size of localized exactly? Who knows, but we'll get past that one for a moment. The locals via what I think should be given through a universal right to association. Given by who and enforced by what? The direct democratic means, of course, and if you're groaning, oh god, he's one of those types, still doesn't answer the obvious question. But pro-contract for freedom of movement, self-determination and association, so universal rights, but now a contract, okay. Apparently is also for segregation as long as people vote for it, which would violate the universal right aspect, but okay. Freedom of movement would also get violated because the right to association would take precedence. And who collects the votes and counts them and enforces the victory, because they should now have the power to enforce segregation. Moving on, segregated groups would fall on their own accord because desegregated groups would refuse to engage with them. Because social capital in a regime would really stand for a lot when the majority just voted for segregation. Good God, these people are dumb. But driving people to a more progressive stance politically over time and without the inherent need for violent overthrow. And what force is doing that drive exactly, and for what purpose? Sounds very vague and sinister, doesn't it? History leans towards progress, not regression. I assume he means politically, seeing as he alluded to that just a few moments ago, and that's where I check out. You know when someone says something so daft where you think, if you believe something that stupid, there is no point in engaging with you. And considering the lead up to that point, yeah, I feel pretty good about my decision. But he finally acknowledges force, yet still not by who though, and instead harps on this point that I made over an hour ago, where I called him a dork because all he does is parrot talking points of the regime like a scripted sheep. A point that seems to irk him for several hours. Apparently I need to finish it, I don't know what that means, but anyway. He goes Bellin mode and implies social force enforces law, then proceeds to go full moron and says votes enforces law. And as you can tell there, I laugh my ass off and leave the conversation. I wake up the next day and see a message just shy of 7 AM and reply to the post at noon calling him a dork from yesterday, which was 18 friggin' hours ago. With him saying he's gonna drag me in front of my subs because about 3 of my friends are in that Discord. I've never shared the link publicly. I've mocked the stupid shit those people say, and I've had people ask me for the link, but I've never told them anything about anyone in there. They just watch and read the conversations. One of my subs went for round 2, tried to start the whole thing all over again. He said the same thing, but doubled down and made it even dumber. Physical enforcement must come from people who agreed to enforce. Therefore, it's a vote. Obviously. Agreed to enforce would mean the state, the military, and the police, because they are the ones agreeing to enforce. The votary are the ones potentially being subjected to that, being enforced. You absolute pleb. But I gotta address the drag part because it's too funny not to. The people who watch this video will be overwhelmingly right-leaning. They've seen you say voting enforces law. If they went into that Discord, they will by name and profile pic know who's the dumbass who said that. You have no credibility whatsoever with which to rake me with, dude. At all. If they saw and hear what you have to say, all of them will think you're an idiot, a waste of time, and my whiskey habit makes much more sense now. I guarantee you, if you press that gimp about what voting means, he will give some dim-witted redefinition of the word that exists nowhere except in his own head, whilst also championing democracy. And that's the irony of all of this. These people sit and stew in their echo chamber and yammer on about democracy, but were you to get regular folk to see what they discuss and talk about, the overwhelming majority would think they're absolutely insane. The point I'm trying to make here is this: if you see anyone talk like this, recognize they don't have sense, they don't have logic, so there is no point trying to appeal to them with it. And when you see their worldview is riddled with ignorance and inconsistencies, they will just get really mad if you scoff at them for the morons that they are. Cheers for watching, and once again, I apologize for nothing.